Thank you for joining us today. For joining us as we gather to remember the great debt that we owe our service members who have given their lives in defense of this great nation. We remember the farmers who fought in the Battle of Concord as we began our quest for independence. We remember the brothers who fought against brothers in the darkest chapter in the deepest divide of our nation's history, the American Civil War. We remember the fathers who lost their lives in the trenches of Europe in World War I, and their sons who returned a generation later to defeat the greatest evil the world has ever known in Nazi Germany, and who then fought island by island in the South Pacific to defeat the Empire of Japan and to win the Second Great War. We remember those who fought valiantly in Korea, those that lost their lives in the rice paddies in the jungles of a place called Vietnam. And then we remember the soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice as we sought to rid the world of terror. You know, Scripture speaks of sacrificial love. One of those verses is immediately behind me, etched in this monument from John chapter 15. We know that verse by heart. Greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for another. And today we meet to honor those who have laid down their lives for this great nation, that we may live freely. Today we gather to honor and pay tribute to the more than 1,200,000 American lives lost on the field of battle since the birth of this great nation. And to honor and pay tribute to the 244 names behind me on the wall from Lauderdale County who made the ultimate sacrifice. We know that those individuals, that they lost their lives on battlefields in places called Bunker Hill, Gettysburg, Shiloh, Omaha Beach, Okinawa, Iwo Jima, Heartbreak Ridge, Pork Chop Hill, Panama, Grenada, Fallujah. The price for freedom has at times been high. But we as Americans, we as Mississippians, we have never been afraid to pay that price and to defend freedom across the globe. As we gather here, I am reminded of the words of a former president of the United States, the 40th president of the United States to be exact. My favorite president of all times, President Ronald Reagan. You know, Reagan loved America. Reagan referred to America as a bright, shining city on a hill that serves as a beacon to freedom-loving people everywhere. You know, the thing I loved about Reagan, or one of the many things I loved about Reagan, was his great optimism when it came to our nation. President Reagan always believed that America's best days lie ahead, not behind. But even though Reagan was an optimist, I would tell you that Reagan was also a realist, because President Reagan knew that freedom wasn't free, that freedom at times required sacrifice. And we know that because President Reagan left us these words. President Reagan says, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It's not something we pass to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed down for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in America where men were free. For those here today that are serving, or those here today that have served, those that have placed themselves in harm's way in defense of this great nation, we thank you. We thank you for your service. We thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for keeping alive the dreams of our founding fathers, that America is and will always be a nation of the people, a nation by the people, and a nation for the people. But today, as we gather to celebrate Memorial Day, we focus on remembering those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. We know that we can never repay the debt we owe our brave soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, but we can keep their memory alive. I want to thank you. Thank you for allowing me to join you today as we remember. May God bless each and every one of you here today for keeping alive the memory of our fallen warriors. May God continue to bless the United States of America.